Let me tell you about the day I realized the real war wasn't in Afghanistan, but right here on Texas soil, and the enemy didn't wear camo. She wore Lululemon and drove a white Range Rover. I mean, at one day I'm ducking Taliban gunfire, the next I'm staring at a text from Karen Whitmore. Yes, that's her real name, with a picture of a bulldozer parked on my grandmother's grave and a message that said, "Welcome home, soldier. We improved your little property while you were off playing war." You know what I mean? I'd barely set foot back in the States, and the only thing greeting me at Broken Arrow Ranch, the place my great-grandpa Manuel earned with blood and sweat back in 1892, was a sea of McMansion's construction dust and Karen's smug smile. I stood there in my dusty boots, still smelling like Kandahar and Karen clipboard in hand, legal documents stacked like ammo boxes, purrs. "We did you a favor, honey. A favor." Let me back up a sec. See, that ranch wasn't just land. It was a military land grant, federal protected since 1943. My grandma Elena made me swear on her deathbed, "Mija, never let anyone take what's ours." 3 weeks later, I'm deployed and I leave the ranch in the hands of old Walt Kowalski, 89 years old, Korean War tough, the kind of neighbor who'd rather lose a hand than break a promise. But you know how these stories go. The moment I'm gone, Karen slithers into Wildflower Estates, the HOA subdivision next door, fresh off a divorce, armed with a law degree and a mission to make everyone else's life as miserable as her own. Within a week, she's calling the county to complain about agricultural odors from my cattle. 2 weeks in, she's griping about roosters, crowing roosters that have lived there longer than the dirt under her acrylic nails. By month 3, she's hosting concerned neighbor meetings in her vanilla, candle-smelling living room, talking about the Torres situation like my family was an invasive species. Thing is, while I'm dodging mortars, she's digging through county records, and she finds some 1970s covenant about residential conformity. You ever seen a lawyer weaponize vague legal language? Karen incorporated the Wildflower Estates Community Association, named herself president, and started foreclosure against my ranch for not conforming. And here's the kicker. All the notices got sent to the ranch where only cattle and Walt's blurry eyes lived. Walt thought they were Medicare scams, filed them next to expired Walmart coupons. 6 months into my deployment, a county judge, who probably didn't read past the case number, issues a default judgment, $47,000 in community improvement fees plus Karen's legal costs. The ranch, worth $2.3 million, gets auctioned off for $50,000. And guess who wins Karen's LLC? By the time I'm back on American soil, she's broken ground on Wildflower Estates Phase 2. And my family's history is buried under luxury condos and fake stucco. I lost it. I stormed her construction trailer, mud still on my boots, and she greets me like I'm early for brunch, not returning to find my grandmother's roses bulldozed and my childhood gone. She hands me a stack of permits, blueprints, legal threats, even marks my family cemetery as community garden space. She says with this frozen smile, "Everything's perfectly legal, sweetie. Your neighbor Walt received all the notices. We even have his signature." My stomach dropped. Walt's been in the hospital for months. There's no way he signed anything. I drove straight to the county clerk. Dolores Martinez, saint that she is, spreads out Karen's paperwork. "Honey, this stinks worse than roadkill in August," she says. "We find Walt's signature dated while he's in the ICU." Dolores checks other records. Same thing for 3 other military families. All had elderly caretakers, all signed HOA agreements while hospitalized. It hits me this isn't just greed, it's a criminal ring targeting military families. Attorney Sarah Chen at the Veterans Justice Project took my call, and within hours, we were assembling a federal case, forged signatures, backdated permits, a timeline showing Karen hunting military deployments. Karen, meanwhile, is rushing construction bulldozers, chewing through my grandmother's flower garden, heavy machines clawing through sacred ground. That night at Walt's kitchen, I show him the signature. His hands shake. "That ain't my writing, Becca. She used my sickness against your family." My phone buzzes, anonymous text. "Welcome home, soldier. Since you're back, we need you to sign the easement for the new subdivision road runs right through where your grandmother's house used to stand. By the way, Walt sends his regards from the hospital. K. She attached a photo of a bulldozer on my grandmother's grave. She was taunting me, confessing to crimes via text like some Bond villain. Sarah Chen goes nuclear. Rebecca. She just confessed to federal crimes and writing identity theft of a veteran document, forgery, elder abuse, desecration of human remains. This is FBI territory. Within hours, the feds are tearing through Karen's communications and financial records. But Karen plays dirty. Anonymous letters go out to my neighbors whispering that I'm unstable, dangerous, that I suffer from combat PTSD. Suddenly, folks who'd known me since childhood start crossing the street. Store clerks ask if I need professional help. Next thing I know, I'm surrounded by cop cars, blue and red lights flashing. Deputy Collins telling me, "Rebecca, we got reports. You're making threats, stockpiling weapons." I said, "Deputy, those reports came from the same person under federal investigation for racketeering." But Karen's there wringing her hands, playing the concerned neighbor. Poor Rebecca clearly needs help, not harassment from federal agents, filling her head with conspiracy theories. The crowd ate it up, except Karen slips. She mentions details about the investigation nobody else knows. Collins clocks it. After the cops leave, he hands me a card. "Federal Agent Martinez left this. Call immediately. The feds now have Karen for obstruction of justice and filing false police reports." The next morning, I find Karen's crew chainsawing down the century-old oak where 4 generations of Torres kids carved their names, the tree my great-grandfather planted after Guadalcanal, the one shading my grandma's wedding photos. The crash sounded like artillery. Karen just smiles. "Don't worry, we're planting Bradford pears, much more appropriate for community standards." By noon, my phone is blowing up. Other military families, same story. Sergeant Rodriguez lost his family farm while deployed. Captain Washington came home from Kuwait to find her property turned into a luxury mall, all with forged caretaker signatures. We map it out. 17 families, $43 million in stolen property. Bradley Whitmore, Karen's ex-former Army JAG, providing inside access and fake divorce cover. The corruption runs through judges, IRS agents, even Pentagon officials. Karen escalates. Walt's kidnapped. I get a call, cease cooperation, or your elderly friend suffers another accident. IRS audits hit every family involved, bank accounts frozen. My commander calls allegations of security violations, threats to my military career. Then comes the bombshell, the military land grant, the one I built my whole case on. Someone's been deleting records from the National Archives using Department of Defense credentials, and guess who's Bradley's? Colonel Mitchell at Fort Hood gets involved, and now it's not just property fraud, it's treason, espionage, a national security threat. The Pentagon turns into a war room, joint military federal task force, every agency involved. We catch Bradley's voice on tape, eliminate the Torres woman, and the entire case collapses. Karen and Bradley are plotting murders, selling info to foreign agents, kidnapping witnesses. It's a full-blown federal takedown. Bradley's last move is a classic. He turns himself in, claims he's the real patriot, accuses us of being foreign agents. Suddenly, I'm in front of a military tribunal. Cameras everywhere, the whole country watching. Bradley spins his tail, media laps it up. Decorated soldier or foreign spy, but then Agent Martinez plays the recording. Bradley planning murder, money flowing from Karen's shell companies, all the evidence on the table. When pressed, Bradley tries to claim deep fake technology, but it's too late. General Hawkins strips his rank, remands him to federal custody for treason, racketeering, and conspiracy. 6 months later, I'm back on my porch, sun rising over the rebuilt ranch. Walt teaching military kids how to hammer nails in my great-grandfather's barn. The Military Family Heritage Center stands on what was once my grandmother's garden, protecting other families from the hell we survived. Karen serving 28 years, Bradley's got life without parole, and every crooked official in their network went down with them. The real victory, Congress passed the Military Family Property Protection Act. Now, if you mess with a deployed soldier's home, you're looking at a mandatory 20 years. Our story became a national movement helping military families fight back. So let me ask, what would you do if someone stole your family's legacy while you were fighting for your country? Drop your story in the comments. Think justice was served, or is there more we should do? Hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and share your HOA horror. Maybe you'll be the next case we fight and win together. Because as long as folks like Karen and Bradley are out there, this battle's not over, not by a long shot.